everyone, welcome. My name is Ajwa Yapobi Atie. I'm an early years family practitioner and this is my colleague Donna. Hi. Our topic today is on how to maintain routines. Due to the current situation, children are stuck at home. Parents and carers might be finding it difficult to maintain a routine. Donna, our parenting practitioner, is going to give us some tips on how to maintain routines. So Donna, what's the importance of keeping a routine?
The importance of a routine, especially in this current climate, is it gives us, everyone, children, adults, structure. And with a routine, we know what's going to happen next. Yeah? And that's why it's important.
Can you give us some tips? So tip number 1, don't be hard on yourself.
Absolutely. Don't be hard on yourself, and that's the biggest tip that I can actually give you right about now. So, in relation to devising your routines, let the routines be a little bit less rigid. Yeah, no rigid routines. Factor time in there for yourself. So if you have a young child and that your young child has a nap in the afternoon, try maybe once, twice, how many times you want, to have a nap with them. Parents would want to go and, cook a meal for the evening at that time, but have some downtime because you've been doing a lot too.
Tip number 2, waking times.
Okay, now, waking times during this time, it can be quite difficult for children because they're not getting the exercise that they need. So, keep the waking times the same as you would if they were going to school. If we didn't have this pandemic, keep it the same. However, there will be some children that will push their boundaries with you. It's okay to say, okay, you can sleep in for an extra half an hour to an hour once a week. But this is something that shouldn't be happening all the time. Because what you don't want to have happen is your child then forms bad habits, because those habits will be hard to break.
Tips number 3, exercise.
The government has relaxed its guidelines on how many times you can go out for exercise, which is putting less pressure on people. So you are homeschooling, you're doing more activities at home in the evening. Factor this in to your day with your children. So you could do things like when you go outside together, you can go different routes that you haven't been before. Sometimes we could live in an area and, someone will come up to us and say, do you know where that is? And we're like, no. So, explore your area. Yeah?
Tip number 4, timetabling.
Yes. Tip number 4 is when it comes to time your children's schooling, so if you're homeschooling, it's very important to stick to the timetable that the school has given you in relation to the lessons that your children will be studying. Yeah? So in the morning, if you're set at 9 o'clock to do your lessons, it's 9 o'clock. It's very important that within the lessons you also factor in breaks. So if it's 11s and your child would have a snack at that time, or you can even go out for a walk, some fresh air, to break up that day.
I suppose that led to our tip number 5, take breaks.
Absolutely.
Tip number 6, bedtime routine.
Bedtime routines, I would say sleep is disrupted at the moment because we're not as active as we used to be. And I can see after all those weeks your children don't want to sleep. They haven't exerted as much energy as they would like. So keep the sleep times at the same times. It's really important. And an hour before bedtime, make that a quiet time. If you can, remove your devices. Remove the devices because, as research shows us, it does stimulate the brain. So remove the devices at least an hour and do some, encourage your children or your child to do hand-eye coordination activities. So that may be colouring in, and that's something I would do to calm my brain. You've got the adult colouring books, that's really, really helpful. Colouring in. You could do reading story times for your children, so you have, if they're younger, you have the book, hand-eye, they're looking, they're pointing at the pictures. That all calms down the brain. Yeah.
Tip number 7, keeping in touch with others.
Oh, very important at this time. We're missing family, we're missing friends. And in September, the children are going to go back to school, they're going to probably go to secondary school, they're probably going to move up in the year. They're missing their friends a lot. So a tip would be, you can factor in a play date. Include the children in the devising of the routine. So you could probably do it on a day-to-day basis or a weekly basis, but factor in a play date, factor in the routines. FaceTime, I'm going to talk to Nanny, going to talk to Granddad, going to speak to Uncle. Factor this all in, so your children would know, okay, Tuesday at this time we're going to speak to Nanny, we're going to speak to Granddad, Very important that we still keep those social connections and relationships up.
Tip number 8, include children in planning.
Absolutely, just as I have just said. Keep, your children in the planning of the routine. Because like I said, at this time it's very unusual. We can't be rigid. And each day something else may come up that you may have to change or factor in. So, just don't make it as rigid as what it would be if we were going to work, going to school, because it would put pressure on you. And also, it's important to add here that a lot of you are working from home. So with the added fact of your children, making telephone calls for work, or very important. Be kind to yourself.
Tip number 9, example of timetables online.
Absolutely. We have put some examples of the timetables, as Adju has said. And you can look at these, so it's just an example. You can look at them and think, oh no, not for me. You can devise your own, with your child or children. But the biggest tip that I can tell you right this moment in time is, please be kind to yourselves.
I suppose that's the tip number 10. Thank you so much, Donna. For more information, please go on RBKC Family Information website. Thank you.